Alright. So you're walking downtown. You hear music in the background from a mariachi band. You see dancers performing in the colorful garments on stage. And food vendors everywhere. There's beer there, all kinds of companies promoting their parties. It's Cinco de Mayo in the United States. But what is Cinco de Mayo? What is the meaning behind that holiday? To most Americans nowadays, they think it's the Mexican Independence Day, but it's not. What Cinco de Mayo celebrates is an important battle in their history against a superior force. To understand Cinco de Mayo, let's take a quick back in time to history and understand what this battle took place and what happened. See, in 1861, Mexico was in a financial crisis. They owed money to some European countries, Britain, France, and Spain. They sent their troops down to Veracruz to get their money they were owed from Mexico. Eventually, Spain and Britain came in terms with Mexico and left. But France stayed behind. You see, the French wanted to expand their own empire there in Mexico. At this time, France was under the control of Napoleon III. And in about 50 years, they had never lost a battle. They were one of the superior forces in that time. Eventually, the French drew the president of Mexico and his government away from Veracruz. In 1862, on May 5th, the French made their way into Puebla, Los Angeles. You see, Mexico only had about 2,000 troops to defend that little place, in that little town, against about 6,000 of the French forces. At that time, the general for the French was General Lorenzes, while Mexico had a general leading them in their small little army from Texas, General Zaragoza. As the battle ensued, the French that evening eventually pulled away from Puebla and left, defeated. See, France lost about 500 troops, while Mexico lost about 100, if that. See, this battle was celebrated because it was an accomplishment they did, coming together and defeating a superior force. Around this time also, the Civil War was going on in the United States. And France also wanted to be Mexico because they wanted to support the Confederates in hopes to disband the United States and make them a weaker nation, dividing it into two for permanent. But because of this battle, it was a little stopping block to their plans. Eventually, after years of struggle, France left Mexico defeated for good. So why celebrate the United States? Well, you see, over time, immigrants came into the United States from Mexico. And throughout this time period, they started off as little celebrations. Whether it be in 1918, a little group running through a town with little banners. But see, it grew. In the 60s, they used it as a way for Hispanics to come together, from activists. Eventually, it grew to be something that's celebrated nationwide by all races. In Mexico, it's really more of a less important holiday. The one time celebrated really big is in Puebla, where it took place. And they have battlefield there, where it's preserved as a National Historic Site. They have museums there, reenactments like we do for the Civil War. It's a bigg deal there in Puebla. Everyone else in Mexico, it's just a normal day. Very minor celebration. But in the United States, it has grown something that's been really big. Not just to Hispanics, but mainstream. But that line came out on May 5th, years and years back. They've used different companies this day to use it as a way to promote their alcohol, or a way for something to come out to celebrate. Oh yes, barbecue, but you gotta have this. The official Cinco de Mayo drink is this. It's lost its meaning in the United States, of what it actually came out to be, what it actually meant to be. And that is a way for us to come together and pay respects and celebrate our history as Hispanics. You see, my grandparents came into Mexico, into the United States. So I'm a second generation Mexican American. See, I take pride in my nationality, where I come from. Woo! I'm half white, half Mexican, but Cinco de Mayo comes around, I don't just celebrate because it's an American holiday. I celebrate because it's part of my culture, of the place where my grandparents came from, the country they're from. And I hope that when you celebrate Cinco de Mayo next year, that you understand the meaning behind it. Not a day to get drunk, not a day to barbecue, but a day to actually celebrate something that's impacted both the United States and Mexico. Because if Mexico had lost that battle, and the French made their way up north into the United States and back to the Confederate Army, we could be living in two different United States countries, the Confederates and the Union. So in a way, it affects both our history. Thank you.